Welcome to the latest installment of Cooking for Moderately Lazy People. Today, we'll be making chicken chorizo chili. Now, contrary to most chicken chili recipes, this will not be a white chili. This is a more standard chili recipe that I just subbed out 2 pounds of ground beef for 1 pound of chicken and 1 pound of chorizo. It was cheaper, and the chorizo is more flavorful than the beef. Let's get started. We'll start by putting 1 pound of chicken tenderloins in a skillet with 4 cups of chicken broth and boiling them. Once done, we'll set aside to cool enough for us to cut the tenderloins. Once we have the chicken started, we'll take 1 pound of chorizo and place it into a large pot or Dutch oven on medium heat and brown it. We'll then drain the grease as best we can and set it aside. While the chicken and chorizo are getting cooked, we're going to take a 16-ounce can of red kidney beans, a 16-ounce can of cannellini beans, and a 15-ounce can of black beans, rinse, drain them, and set them aside. Once our chicken is sufficiently boiled and our chorizo is sufficiently browned, we'll remove them both from heat. We'll leave the chicken in the broth and set it aside for now. We'll put the chorizo in a paper towel-lined colander on top of a Pyrex bowl so we can hopefully drain some of this grease off. Once the chorizo is out of our Dutch oven, we're going to put 1 tablespoon of olive oil in on medium heat. We're then going to add 1.5 cups of finely diced onions to our Dutch oven. Next, we'll add 3 finely diced spicy peppers, either jalapeno or habanero, depending on how spicy you like your chili. We'll then toss in 4 fresh minced garlic cloves, or a tablespoon of minced garlic. We'll cook these until tender and then remove them from heat as well. Once our vegetables are ready, we'll start adding in our remaining ingredients. We'll start by adding the broth we cooked the chicken in, but not the chicken itself yet. We'll then add the chorizo, and then the beans we rinsed and drained earlier. We'll then add in 2 undrained 14.5-ounce cans of petite diced tomatoes. Now you may notice here that I'm using 1 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes, and that's because of a grocery shopping error. Next, we'll add 3 tablespoons of tomato paste, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of oregano, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a half teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2 bay leaves. Finally, we'll add our chicken. We're going to cut the tenderloins into bite-sized sections with kitchen shears and toss them in. And while I'm slicing the chicken, let's talk cost. As always, your mileage may vary on prices in your area. The tenderloins are about $6 per pound, and the chorizo is about $3.50 per pound. An onion costs around $1.20, but we're only using less than half of it, so let's say 50 cents. Fresh garlic bulbs are about $1 each, but we're only using 4 cloves, making the cost about a quarter. The beans run about $1 to $1.50 for each can. Let's take the worst case scenario here and say $4.50. The tomatoes are also about $1.50 each, so that's $3. The tomato paste runs about $1. We're not going to use all of it, but it's not the easiest thing to save, so I'm going to calculate the full dollar here. The peppers aren't going to be very expensive no matter what type we use, so I'm going to call that about 50 cents. The chicken broth runs about $3. As usual, I'm going to treat the cost of the spices as negligible because of the quantities. That brings us to $22.25, or just north of $22 for a Dutch oven full of chili. This is not only enough to feed a family of 4, but I once fed over a dozen people at a party from this recipe. Now that our chicken is sliced up and in the pot, we'll bring the whole thing to a gentle boil over medium heat. Once that's achieved, we'll reduce the heat, cover our chili pot, and allow to simmer for 30 minutes, stirring occasionally. Once the timer has expired, we'll remove our chili from heat and it's ready to serve. You can top with whatever cheese you prefer, and it also goes great with tortilla chips for dipping. And here it is, chicken chorizo chili, with cheese and chips if you prefer, because we need more words that start with CH for this recipe. If you like this recipe, or can think of more words that start with CH to add into the recipe that make sense, please feel free to like, subscribe, comment on, or share the video. And remember to click the notification bell for more weekly content. Thanks for watching, and bon appetit.